Alafia to the fam. It's your people's Babalawu Eshuwala Adigun, and I'm back with another video for these spiritual streets, family. Um, I ain't been making videos for the last few months, man. I've been just enjoying Nigeria, enjoying my family. But I'm back on these spiritual streets, man. So hit the like button, man. Get me back in the algorithm, family. Let's get this knowledge back in the algorithm. I noticed there's been a lot going on. People sending me stuff to my inbox, wanting me to react to it. I try to keep y'all active in the community tab, man, but I gotta get back to the videos, man. So I seen this that came across my desk in my IG inbox, and somebody asked me to react to it. So I'm gonna let this sister say what she gonna say, and then we gonna break it down.
Come on, stand up, y'all. And by the way, if you pray to an Orisha, I don't know, some like to call him Yeshua. I mean, a lot of people call him Jesus. That's an Orisha. 400 plus one. Stand up.
She said it with her whole chest, man. I'm gonna let her say it again, man.
Come on, stand up, y'all. And by the way, if you pray to an Orisha, I don't know, some like to call him Yeshua. I mean, a lot of people call him Jesus. That's an Orisha. 400 plus one. Stand up.
See? And that right there is why the spiritual streets was calling me back, man. It's just a lot of situations like that, family. So let's break it down. To understand Orisha, you first have to know where Orisha come from. Because in this video, she makes a few claims, right? She says that Jesus is an Orisha. She infers that he's the plus one. So let's deal with it. Orishas come from what we call Irumule. Irumule are primordial celestial beings that essentially put the galaxy together and have jurisdiction over the functions of nature. The Irumules that were sent to Earth were sent by Oludumare, right? Which already we're getting into a big difference. Jesus is the son of Yahweh, who was sent by Yahweh. Yahweh and Oludumare are two very different entities, all right? And if you want me to do a video to really break that down, because that deserves its own video, if I'm gonna go into that, put Yah in the comments. If you want me to do a video on Oludumare versus Yahweh, put Yah in the comments, family. All right, put Yah in the comments and I'll do the video. So Oludumare sent some of these Irumules to Earth. Now, the Irumules, they help to make things function like gravity, inertia, planetary rotation, right? So they're doing things of a grand magnitude. They were sent down to Earth. Uh, the chosen few. And so those that were sent to Ile Aye, to Earth, became later known as Orishas, and they became Orishas through various ways over time. One of the ways was as they were manifesting themselves or expressing themselves through people. When those people went to do great things for their community, they got deified as ancestors, and they became Orisha, right? And so there goes that. Now, here's the issue. The issue is when you use that word Orisha with a broad brush to paint over the entire spiritual spectrum. That's where it starts to get tricky, right? Because she's saying that Jesus is an Orisha. So by her criterias of Orisha, if Jesus is an Orisha, is Ganesh an Orisha, right? Is Moses an Orisha? But then there's another tier. Is Baal an Orisha? Is Satan an Orisha? Right? Uh, then it gets more sinister than that. Is Saddam Hussein an Orisha? He was loved by his people. What about Joseph Stalin. What about the man from Germany with the signature beard that unalived like 6 million people, that people still hail to this day, that people still tattoo his signature, his symbol to this day? Is he an Orisha too? You see how it starts to get a slippery slope? You cannot all lives matter Orisha. There have to be there have to be structure and order, boundary, lines drawn. This is a Yoruba tradition. Ifa is Ifa to the world, but it is Yorubas who brought the knowledge forth to the world. So it is Yorubas that you will respect the cosmology in which this comes from. Just like every other tradition. If you wanted to be a Muslim, you have to learn Arabic. You have to learn their culture and their customs. You have to go to their historic sites when you're going on pilgrimage. Abi, this is facts. So let's not disrespect African spirituality in that way, where you can just take our cosmology and pin it anywhere that you want in an effort to be validated by Abrahamic believers. We don't need their validation. This is the problem, because this is where it ultimately stems from, is the need to feel validated by other groups of people. So now you have to try to insert other figures into your cosmology where they don't fit. Let's be clear. To have become Orisha, because this conversation is not just about if Jesus is an Orisha or Jesus is not an Orisha, because both sides will make compelling arguments against each other. But if we're going to deal with this conversation, we have to deal with it from a Yoruba perspective, because you're applying a Yoruba term onto an Abrahamic figure. So in the context of Yoruba land, when you study the Odu Ifa, what you will find is this. Before these Irumules were sent to earth, they consulted Ifa to know what role they would play on earth, and they made Ebo to make sure they would be successful on their mission. So now I have to ask, when did Jesus consult Ifa before he came to earth? And when did he make Ebo to ensure that he would be successful? You see, this is Yoruba cosmology. You can't just fit anything into the puzzle piece because you want to. That's not how this goes. In the context of what Odu Ifa explains about the various Irumules that were sent to earth, in which, when you are in Yoruba land, Jesus is not amongst those figures, okay? Jesus is not. Now, I've heard in modern Lukumi, a more modern Lukumi, I've heard integration stories of Jesus being crucified in Oyiku Meji. But even in that context, Ifa is not referring to Jesus as an Orisha, whether you believe that story or you don't believe that story, or if you follow that or you don't follow it. Ifa is not referring to even Jesus in that as an Orisha. Okay? And in the story, they say Jesus refused to make Ebo, right? Remember, all of the Irumules who became Orisha consulted Ifa, made Ebo to be successful in their journey. This is what leaves this up to so much interpretation. Because even on Jesus's mission, if Jesus died for the sins of mankind and people were still sinning, you feel me? If Jesus was the ultimate sacrifice so that we wouldn't have to sacrifice anymore, and people is still needing to sacrifice to live, because you have to sacrifice animals and plants to eat and live, was the mission accomplished? You see, there's so This can go on for days because people, once again, they can debate all the sides. But what's important is that we don't begin to water down our traditions to fit the narrative of other cultures because they're not going to do it for us. Okay? It's very important to understand. And those figures don't fit into our cosmology. They don't. The Irumoles were sent by Oludumare. Jesus was sent by Yahweh. Already, you can say, case closed. Jesus is not Orisha. Because according to Ifa, Oludumare is who sent Orisha now. You see? And they became the ones you know today. Ogun, Obatala, Eshu, Shango, Oya, Oshun, Iyemoja, Yewa, Oba, Obaluaye. Did Oludumare send down Jesus? You see? Family, be careful who you follow on this internet and these spiritual streets. And don't be following these TikTokers that say anything, y'all. I'm gonna just keep it 100 with you, man. Big Brujo is back in effect, man. You know what I'm saying? Big Brujo is back in effect. Eshu son is here. Eshu Lalu or Gideoko Baba. I'm here. So we ain't gotta try to fit into other people's narratives, y'all. Our history, our cosmology is strong enough. And if you keep trying to water it down, what will happen is it will only exist as mythology and be used by the Hollywood elites to make billions of dollars off of your stories, off of your cosmology. It'll be put into children's books and turned into cartoon series and stuff. It'll be no different than Thor Ragnarok. And then you'll have Orishas inside of the Avengers. I'm just telling y'all. If you're not careful, this is where it's going. Set boundaries on this tradition. There's a reason that houses have doors. There's a reason that houses have doors, right? Do with that information what you will. I don't even know what I'm talking about. And there's a reason why only certain people have the key to that door. I don't even still know what I'm talking about. Wisdom. Wisdom is knowing that just because you can say anything doesn't mean that you should say anything. Once again, I don't know anything. So if you're new to the channel, follow the channel. If you've been following the channel, know that we back in these spiritual streets. And that's all I'm trying to say, family. That's all I'm trying to say, family, is that we back in these spiritual streets. You can't just be going around here saying anything that you want to say on any day that you want to say it, family. Jesus does not fit into the cosmology of Orisha. He just doesn't. And that's okay because his people don't acknowledge him as Orisha. They acknowledge him as what they acknowledge him as in his respective cosmology and his people. And that's okay. That's okay. It doesn't have to be all lives matter because we're talking about black lives right now, right? So it's okay. You know what I'm saying? All I'm trying to say is, let me hold $5. So that's all it is, family. Listen, be wise. Be wise, okay? Don't fall for foolishness and have discernment. I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one or double.